Yeah, I actually just got finished reading Pam Grier's autobiography.
Which I wasn't in.
You're in a little bit. But you're in a lot of movies with her.
We did 6 pictures together.
I could talk to you for half an hour just about that. Okay, but just tell me about like your relationship over the years.
Okay, yeah.
How many times you've beaten her up, and how many times you saved her?
We did 6 pictures together, and the first picture was a film called The Big Dollhouse, and it was her first picture. Before that, she was a receptionist at American International Pictures. And when I got to the Philippines, people were saying, "Oh, you're going to love this girl, she's fantastic, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Okay, yeah, good." And they were right. She was amazing, okay? And she was very serious about what she was doing. She didn't really have any acting experience at all, and so every evening after dinner we would get together and go over the next day's work, so she felt comfortable with what she was doing. Very serious about that. And it was all very cool. And then we had this rather intimate scene in The Big Dollhouse. Put my hand up her crotch and hers in mine, and that went well. And then I found out she was only 17. She lied about her age to get into the film. I said, "Girl, I ought to kick your ass. What the fuck are you doing?" So, but and then she was 18, and I put my hand up her crotch again in the big birdcage, and it just went on and on from there. Before I did Jackie Brown, we hadn't seen one another in 27 years, and it was like we had just had lunch the day before, and we picked our relationship right back up. And it's like my hand up her right now. I didn't do that. But Quentin didn't tell her that he had cast me in the role of the judge, and so when she showed up and saw me, she just cracked up. She fell on the floor. And then I put my hand down. Yeah,
those robes on, so.
Yeah. And now you know what goes on under those judges' robes. Guy in the black dress.
Yeah. Let's we're gonna show toward the end. We're gonna show, I think, a trailer or a clip or something from your new film.
Shit, I don't know. I only found out about this 2 days ago. So.
Okay. Well, the film's called Creature.
Right.
Tell us something about that. Tell us what we don't know about that trailer.
Show of hands, has anybody seen the trailer? Then you know more than I do. When we were shooting it, I felt that it was going to be a good film. And unless the producers screwed it up by doing an editing job that is ridiculous, it probably will be a good film. And
coming out September?
September 9th.
Okay. In theaters too.
In theaters, that's what I hear. I don't know. So y'all got to go see that. If you don't know, I'll just have to come to your house and put my boot all up in your ass. So that's that. That's all I know about that. That's all I want to talk about.
Okay, well, we'll show that at the end.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure we get the audience a little time here. So much to talk about. We don't have a mic right this second, so let's just go ahead and stand up and yell your question.
there before he did that one? Was it like 6 or 8 or something like 7? Something like that? What the fuck? You know, you gotta change it up. You gotta do something to juice it. And I thought it was an excellent idea to get the Michael backstory. Because people are not born with masks on their face walking around chopping people up. So how did he get that? Okay. I thought it was a good idea. I thought having Michael speak in Halloween 2 was not the best idea in the world. Okay. But hey, it's something different, you know, and Rob does not like to do constant remake after remake after remake kind of stuff. That's why we ended it all with The Devil's Rejects, okay? The Firefly family is dead. That's it. We're through. It's over. And I applaud that, actually, because I can't see myself doing The Devil's Rejects 12. Sorry. I like a paycheck just like anybody else, but that's not what I do this for.
Yeah.
Sometimes you...
Just so everyone knows, he's asking him about Night of the Living Dead 3D, which was in recently.
Yeah. Sometimes you go into projects thinking that it's a good idea and you find out that it's a train wreck. I thought it was kind of interesting that finally somebody explained how the whole zombieism thing got started, because in most too fucking low budget films, okay, things are being explained away by, it came from outer space. Okay, good, that makes sense, you know. And this had a kind of realism to it, and that's the thing that attracted me to it, and then it attracted me away from it. But that's the way that shit goes. I mean, it didn't start off good, because the very first day of shooting, we were getting ready to shoot that scene where I explain how all of this happened, and you know, I was afraid of the fire. And the director, before we had even rehearsed the scene, came up and said, "Can I give you a line reading on this?" And I said, "Yeah, if you want those to be the last words you ever speak." So you don't do that to somebody before you've seen what it is that they're going to bring to you, okay? It was stupid. So at that point in time, I knew that I had made a mistake. Yeah.
Oh, we do have a mic now, so let's go with the guy right there. Yeah.
I just wanted to know if Sid could talk a little bit about working with Lon Chaney in the Spider Baby movie.
Yeah, Lon Chaney was an amazing guy. First of all, he had it put in the contract that he could not have a drink until filming was over. And for him, that was a big deal because everybody knew him as an alcoholic, and you know. But if you have a lock on what his childhood was like, it's a little wonder he was an alcoholic. But it was just amazing working with him. For the first couple of days, I was in awe. We did that film in 11 days. And that was his last starring role, and I think he was amazing. We did the scene where he's telling us that he's going to go bring us a toy, and it makes a big boom, and you know, all that business, and basically he's telling us that we're going to fucking die. And when he got through with that, the entire crew just had tears in their eyes, and they wouldn't let him off the set for 5 minutes. They were just applauding. It was amazing. And he was like a mentor to me, you know, and in all the time that it takes to set up a scene, we would just sit and talk. He'd talk, I'd listen. And he gave me a lot of great pointers get through the evils of Hollywood and keep my nose clean and not fall into the same traps that he did. Okay, the alcoholism thing, you know, he had a bent for that anyway, okay, and it could be because his father was a big drinker and you get that drinking gene in there or whatever. But it was also fed by the fact that he was doing the Wolfman, and the original Wolfman, there were like, I think, 7 transformation scenes, and there was no technology in those days. So they had him lying on the ground, staring at a target, could not move, and then shoot a little, and then the makeup man come in and put a little more hair on, and then he'd shoot a little and put a little more hair on, and that whole transformation would take 20 hours.
Okay.
And he got to the point where he just had a bottle of scotch over here with the tube into his mouth and call it good. That's the only way I can get through this shit, you know.
Speaking of Spider-Man, you have a history of kind of befriending a lot of the directors you've worked with, and you've worked with multiple times. But Jack Hill was really the first one, I think, that you worked with on a few different films. Talk about working with him.
Yeah, Jack Hill is an amazing director. If you've never seen any of his work, shut the fuck up. Excuse me. Get rid of this shit. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I first met Jack Hill when he was a student at UCLA in the film department. And Dorothy Arzner, who was the first female director in Hollywood, was the head of the film department at UCLA. And Jack had written this story that was going to be his student film, and he was having a tough time finding an actor to play the role. And so his advisor, Dorothy Arzner, was a friend of one of my teachers at the Pasadena Playhouse, and she called and said, "Can you send somebody over, because we're having a tough time." That woman called me, said, "Get your ass over to UCLA, you might have a job." I said, "Yeah." And I went over, got the job, everything was cool, and I've done like 8 pictures with Jack. We've been friends for 50 years. He was at my wedding, you know, we've just been a close association.
A really strong filmmaker.
Yeah, and there's Jack Hill and Francis Ford Coppola were in the same class together at UCLA. We all know Francis Ford Coppola, right? Not many of us know who Jack Hill is. And there's one reason for that. Jack was not a good self-promoter. Francis Ford Coppola, on the other hand, was a great self-promoter, okay? That's where the BS comes into the spelling of Hollywood. And, you know, if you can't do that, if you can't self-promote,